Hello everyone, my name is Nokanya Tlabangana and welcome to Voice It Youth Talk Show, a talk show for the youth from the youth whereby the youth get to voice out challenges that they may not be able to communicate with their parents, guardians or even their friends. Well, Voice It has got your back. Joining me today is my lovely co-host, Brendan.
Hello, I'm Brandon. Today we are under the theme Culture and Christian Living. And our topic for today is, should Christians listen to secular music or watch secular movies? And we've got two handsome brothers with us today. We've got Panache and Rukuto, and I'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves.
Okay, hello everyone. It's Panache Kamshinda here. Like my brother introduced me. I'm actually happy to be with you guys.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Rukuto Chitura. Thank you, Voice It, for having me here.
All right, thank you guys for coming. Let's dive right into it. Now, what is the definition of secular music or secular, entertainment?
Okay, so when you talk about secular movies or entertainment, right, basically we're talking about the entertainment that has nothing to do with religion.
Right.
Right, so we talk about, take for example, music, right? It comes in various forms like pop, amapiano and stuff, right? So basically that's what we call secular entertainment.
Music,
yeah.
Right. Interesting.
Okay, so is all secular content harmful, or is there secular content that can be neutral?
Well, not all secular content is harmful. In what way? Because the biggest secular content that you can have is maybe the news, right? The news isn't harmful, right? Because you watch the news for updates and all. We also have channels like National Geographic World, and how it's made, channels like that, where you are actually learning about your environment, about life and other different concepts of life, right? So not all of the secular entertainment is harmful, right? Yeah, as I had said, secular entertainment, right, has nothing to do with religion. So it actually then becomes neutral in what way? Because we are saying that secular content is the one which bridges our interaction with the outside world as Christians.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, adding on to the ones though, there are also some educational contents, like some documentaries.
Right.
Yeah, and some historical dramas as well.
So that's how the secular stuff can be neutral.
Exactly.
Interesting. Now, do you think that what you listen to or watch can have an influence on your relationship with God?
Okay, so generally, like what we watch every day, visually, it affects us, like naturally. When you
Holding, we become changed.
Exactly. So whatever you watch each and every day, it actually affects you. Like it portrays the character that you have. Like people will see the character that you have with what you'll be watching each and every day. Yeah.
And listening to, and I was listening to the music, the degenerate music that I used to listen to.
Yeah.
And I have some people that I know who still refer to it as degenerate music, but they still listen to it. And in one sentence, probably the only word that would be clean, but that is not a swear word, is the word maybe like. Everything else is just a swear word. And you're thinking, you're listening to countless hours of this on a daily basis. He's telling you about how he does immoral things with women. He's telling you about how many people he has shot. He's telling you about, it's saying a lot of things, saying bad things about people's moms. And this is something that you're listening to, like constantly. So my next question though is where do we draw the line to say, where does it stop being neutral? And where do you actually now have to start realizing that, okay, this is no longer neutral. This is an attack on my Christianity.
Okay, this brings me to this little verse of mine, which is Matthew 6, verse 22 to 23. It says, "The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. If then the light within you is darkness, how great is that darkness?" So your question was, how do we draw the line between the secular and the Christian
And how
Christian
do you
values.
know when, because we said the secular can be neutral at some point.
Exactly.
But then when do you know that, okay, now it is sort of against my Christian values?
So now you have to see if that thing is aligning with what God has commanded us to do. There are certain things that God has already told us to do. And if that thing is not aligning with what God wants, then now it becomes, it affects your thoughts and your character as well.
Yeah, Isaiah actually says, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not these things, then there is no light in them.
Exactly.
True.
Right. That brings me to the question, can entertainment become a subtle way that the devil can then enter into our lives and influence us?
Okay, yeah, entertainment can be a way that the devil can influence us, right? Okay, I'd like us to take a look at the children of Israel when they were on their way to Canaan, right? When they reached River Jordan, right, what did the Midianites do? They say the only way we can do to stop these people is if we take women and give them women, right? So the women went in half-clothed, right, into the river, and the men were entertained. They allude to those women, right? So that's when you see the children of Israel, about 24,000 dying simply because of that act. So the devil will try by all means, right, to find a way to take us away from the path that the Lord wants us to live in by bringing different ways and methods, right? At that point, he brought women, right? Nowadays, it can be in the form of music, as you said, right? The type of music whereby the only clean word is end, or maybe like something like that.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, the devil does use entertainment as a subtle way to influence us.
Okay, adding to that one again, I have a personal experience myself. Like last week, it happened on Saturday. I had a visit at the prisons, and I was supposed to have someone there.
Right.
And when we reached there, they were actually up to something. There was music and everything. And I actually found myself like just jumping. You understand? So entertainment sometimes it can actually drive you away from what you have been.
All right.
True. Actually, on that note, what you spoke about the apostasy of the Jordan, it's a wonderful one where that you can find in Patriarchs and Prophets. There's a chapter particularly on that. But what the prophets did was they took the Median women who were beautiful, and they knew that they were beautiful. They picked the ones that were beautiful. And what they did was they invited the Israelite men, and they said these women should be friends with the men. And they invited the men to their feasts. At these feasts, they were sacrificing to their gods, these women. So what the men did was when they saw this, they saw these sacrifices, things that they used to abhor or things that they used to hate sort of slowly became normal. It's like those movies that have sexual scenes in them. Usually it's a 3-second scene.
Yeah.
And you know, back in the day when maybe a scene of just people kissing happens, you're like, okay. And when you're watching the movie with your parents, you know, you pretend you didn't see it somewhere looking for your phone. But we all know you saw it. You know. But now it's gotten so worse that they keep lengthening these scenes. They used to be maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and it gets longer. And the more you see this, for you, it's now normal. You don't hate it anymore. That's why we've got so many kids, especially in America, having shootouts at school. Or you hear that someone as young as 14 is doing suicide bombing, or they're like killing their friends. Where do they see it? Where are they getting this?
Yeah.
Right.
So once you divert from religion and you go in a secular direction, I think that is when we sort of start to lose our way, and then there's no limit to the whole thing.
Exactly.
And sometimes you'll find someone defending the secular music. Per se, yes, it doesn't have any cuss word, but then you're so blinded that you cannot see the intention behind the song.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's actually very sad that today's society has made it such that secular music is made a norm, or it's just loved and liked in that way.
Another thing, the effects of secular music, like what you show to the people, it doesn't happen like quickly. People just see those kind of things as time goes on, but you yourself, you won't even see anything.
Right.
So you need to be careful with whatever you'll be
Interestingly,
watching.
even like what you said in terms of it doesn't have any cuss words. People think just because the music has the cuss word, they leave it out.
Yeah.
But you've got genres like EDM and sometimes indie pop that have no words in it. But what effect? Okay, so the music has no words. So is it okay? There's a study that was done on what that type of music does to the brain. You should go and look it up. It is horrible how simply sound waves can actually affect how your brain functions. That is why you've got this thing called mosh pits, where, like, for example, one concert by Travis Scott where people died
Exactly.
because they were trampling on each other. You cease to be conscious and reasonable. And if Christ is saying, come, let us reason together, you are in a state where you have been made drunk by what you listen to, and now you cannot reason. So I think it goes further, like what you were saying, than just the words and the cuss words. Like, but if it's got nothing to do with God, why are you? Yeah.
Interesting. How do you decide what's spiritually healthy and what's spiritually healthy to listen to or to watch?
Okay, I'd like us to take to consideration 1 Thessalonians 5, verse 21 and 22. It reads, "Prove all things, hold fast that which is good, abstain from all appearance of evil." Right? So what we are supposed to do as Christians, right? We are supposed to say, ask yourself this question: if Jesus was here today, right, living in our time, would you watch this? Would you listen to this type of music? Because we are supposed to be Christ-like, right? So, and again, we are also given a conscience, right? Like, take young kids, for example. No one told them that sugar is bad, right? When they grew up, no one tells them, don't touch sugar, because they haven't been told of it yet, right? But then as they grow older and older, they start stealing sugar hidden, right? So they know that if they do it in the open, the parents won't like it, right? So if you see what you're doing not aligning to God's principles, or if maybe in your phone you have a playlist for church and a playlist for secular music, basically you're not having a healthy, it's not spiritually healthy for you. Yeah,
That's true.
Okay, so I think the main point was, does it align with God's principles, with the Bible's principles?
Yeah.
So everything that you should be listening or what you should be watching, you should be examining it if it's aligning with what God wants.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. This is the end of our first segment. Please catch us on our second segment, our question and answer segment.
Welcome back to the second segment of our episode, where we are tackling the issue of whether or not Christians should listen to secular music or watch certain movies. Right, let's get right into it. So we have a question coming in and it says, where is the line between in the world and of the world?
Okay, that's such an interesting question. So naturally, we're in the world, like we're created and we're in the world. So there's no escape on that one. But now there's a line between in the world and of the world. So being in the world means you're engaging with people, you're just relating with people, talking to people. But now being of the world, there is now an excessive attachment with people, whereby you'll be doing other stuff that don't even align with what God wants.
Right.
So I think that one becomes a question of where your mind is. When you look at people like Enoch, Enoch, they say that he walked with God when he was on earth.
Exactly.
So he was on earth, but living like someone who was, so he was in the world, but not
of the world.
So that's where Christ calls us out, says, come out of her, my people.
Exactly.
That also leads me to the next question to say, we spoke about secular music, movies, right?
Yeah.
But what do we do about the musicians or the movie producers who come under the garb of Christian, but produce content that is meant for Christian, but is really not? Because what we have to understand, we're working with an intelligent enemy.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
the enemy is cunning. He's intelligent. If he was able to deceive sinless beings, what more me and you? So, like, okay, how do we classify that? We've got musicians like Forrest Frank is an example. We've got Dax, I think. People normally rap and sing about God.
Yeah.
Right.
How do we classify that?
They call it Christian rap.
Yes, and Christian Amapiano. You know, yeah.
Okay. So what happens now is, I think there are certain people who sing about life generally. Like, there is nothing wrong about his lyrics and stuff. You just listen to the whole song and be like, no, this guy is just simply talking about life generally, or what we are facing in life. And even some people who even talk about who even sing about maybe political things that are happening. You see things happening and they sing about those kind of things. So I don't think there's nothing wrong about that. We don't call that secular music. That is not secular.
It's neutral.
It's neutral. That's neutral now. So now you have to examine between the secular and the neutral one. So you have to be clever enough to see it. No, is this secular or is this neutral? So now that's when we need the Bible. That's when we need to really examine it. Is it secular or is it?
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But before we even get to that point, because I believe as a Christian, even the neutral ones,
Yeah.
it's okay if your neighbor's always playing the guy in your ears.
Exactly.
Let it stay with your neighbor.
Exactly.
Don't download it, because you should be having more of what Christ wants.
Yeah.
But my question is, what about those who actually are singing about Christ? But you know that this beat and this rhythm there's nothing Christ-like. It makes me want to jump on the table. But this guy is singing about Christ. How do we classify them? You know, they're also rapping about Christ, rapping about God, you know, and even some movies that have a Christian connotation. Is everything that has the name tag Christian on it good?
Okay.
Okay, I'll answer your question using a quotation from Counsels to the Church by Ellen White, chapter 32, which talks about music. It says, and I quote, "Thus music was made to serve a holy purpose, to lift the thoughts to that which was pure and noble and elevating, and to awaken in the soul devotion and gratitude to God." So if you see the music, right, of these artists you're talking about, it does not have anything to do with God, right? Of course, they sing about God, right? But you can see clearly there's nothing about
There's
God
no
here.
elevation
right?
and thankfulness.
Exactly.
And yeah.
So if you see that is not doing what God would want, then I think it's best to just stay away.
Yeah.
I think the other thing, let's just look at the background of the person. Let's look at the person who is singing the music.
Right.
Let's look at the genre, the person that he sings. Like, today he's singing something about God, tomorrow he's singing something else.
Yes.
So he's actually contradicting himself. So we're looking at some people like Dax. His altar too, his everything, his character, but he's singing about God.
Yes.
So you need to be looking at these kind of things as well.
I think also I have a personal experience with music. I used to listen to indie music, but then I decided and I told God, I'm not going to do that anymore, you know. But then what happened was I got a guitar. You can imagine now I could actually play my favorite songs.
Exactly.
It's a different thing when you can listen to them, but when you now have the ability to play them, okay, now that's a big temptation. And I fought with it, I struggled with it. But at some point I said to the Lord, this instrument is meant to glorify you.
Yeah.
I am never going to play anything again. And what happens is now, if I'm in a very tough situation, like things are bad, the power of a hymn, when I sing a hymn, like what the quotation that you read, when I sing a hymn, you know, from our hymnal, or like a hymn of my own composing to God, the thankfulness and the peace that I receive after that, that's what music should be. But when it doesn't have that uplifting, like I said, I think it also can draw your mind away from God.
Okay.
There's another question. This, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I wanted to add something.
Okay.
So now, I think I would say to my brothers and sisters, I think we have to look for ways to run away from those kind of things.
Yes.
You have to see things that triggers your mind to listen to that kind of music.
Yes.
Because there are certain things that you'll be up to and you want to listen to something. You're in a heartbreak. You want certain kind of music that can actually fill your heart.
Actually, that one makes
that can fill the void.
Yes.
So you need to see those kind of things. And the other thing, just be around people
Yes.
who can convince you to listen to good music. And
Actually, what you're speaking about is the art of replacement.
Exactly.
So when you remove a certain thing from your life, which is what we are explicitly telling people.
Exactly.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. I did it myself.
Yeah,
Best
exactly.
decision ever. I used to have a problem with TikTok or Instagram. I had a really big following on Instagram and TikTok. But then this was unhealthy because that is where my confidence came from. When you find confidence in certain things, I had a big following in TikTok and Instagram, and that is what would draw me there. And that is why it was hard to get rid of it. But when you get rid of those things, even movies and series and even the secular music, it is possible through Christ's strength to get rid of them. But what he's saying is once you get rid of them, do not just leave it plain. Replace it with the good stuff.
Exactly.
Because when you are idle, you will just re-download, like what the other brother said. So you should replace it with the sermons, the real gospel music, even if it might be boring in the beginning. But it's definitely, your heart will adjust.
I think it's sad that it's deemed as boring. But anyways, there's another question that says, is it possible to enjoy culture without compromising our values?
Okay.
Is it possible to enjoy culture, enjoy the music, enjoy the entertainment without then compromising our values?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Like you should be designing. Like you should choose cultural activities or music or movies that align with your activities,
Right.
with your values, and don't conflict with your faith. So that kind of a thing whereby you have to choose things that align with your values and your beliefs.
That's actually an interesting one. I'll give an example here. When there's a lot of things in every different culture in the world, it's not just the African culture. Every culture in the world has something that contradicts biblical principles. But we also have those things that when we become Christians, we actually come up with a new culture that I like calling the Jesus culture.
Exactly.
Where we all have something common. Where someone from Mexico, someone from America, someone from Africa, they can come together. There's actually a particular trait that you see. So another example is in our culture, African culture. Let's say, for example, we get together every, let's say, for example, when someone passes away, it's our culture to get together maybe before we do the normal funeral service and everything.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. But once you start doing certain rituals, you see, then that's a problem. Culturally, there's certain practices we do that are okay for mourning. But then when you start doing certain rituals, like, I don't know why they sweep the grave or they lay a person towards the sun, things like those.
Exactly.
So it is okay. It is normal to hold on to culture as long as it does not contradict principle.
Another thing, you need to set boundaries as a believer.
Right.
There are some boundaries where you don't have to pass. So you need to set your own boundaries as a believer, and the other thing, just find some alternative ways of dealing with that thing as well.
All right.
Okay, as Brendan said about the Jesus culture, right? If you really want to enjoy, cultures and stuff, I think it's best you link up, right, with fellow Christians, right, who enjoy talking about Jesus, right? You link up with those, you guys then form your own Jesus culture, right, whereby you do not have to partake in the cultures of the world,
Compromise.
right? Yeah, you don't have to compromise and all, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, there's this person that says, please elaborate on what Philippians 4 verse 8 teaches us about what we take in. Maybe if anyone can help.
Okay. So Philippians 4 verse 8, it reads, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." So now, this verse is actually teaching us to focus on consuming content that is true, that is noble, that is right, that is pure, that is lovely and admirable. So on true, looking at things like being accurate and factual as a person, and honorable and dignified as a person. So in this context, we should be mindful of our media consumption, first thing. Number two, we should focus on the positive things that we should do as a person, and also cultivate a healthy mindset as a believer. Think about things that promote mental and emotional well-being as a believer.
Again, I'll mention Isaiah 8:20.
Exactly,
To the
exactly.
law and to the testimony.
Exactly.
If someone is saying something and they're not speaking about Jesus, you know that you've got a limited time on earth to serve him. Why are you also wasting time?
Exactly.
He's not saying anything sinful, but have you thought about the fact that it also actually is accounted for that we waste time by doing certain things? They are not morally wrong,
Yeah, exactly.
but they're a waste of time.
Yeah.
And we are on God's time.
Yeah. And Colossians 3 verse 2 as well says, "Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things." So this verse is actually encouraging us to focus on things that are noble, pure, and lovely at the same time.
Right.
Thank you very much for watching this very interesting episode. Hopefully we'll be able to delve deeper in the future on particularly the things that people can do to actually replace secular music. But the final verdict that we reached was delete, 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 and replace, replace, replace. Get rid of the old stuff and replace it with the good stuff. And this is one effective way to get rid of the secular music and movies in your life. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope this was helpful, and see you next time.